What's up, everybody? My name is Kiefer, and welcome back to Wuthering Waves. Tonight, we're going to be going over the databank and echoes, how you can level up your databank quickly, how you should farm echoes, and which ones you should focus on farming. Starting off just a few days ago, Cocky Gotchas revealed that echoes have a soft pity system depending on which drop pool they're in. I'll leave a link to his video in the pinned comment below if you want to see his testing, but the overall rates go like this. 4 cost echoes, the boss echoes, drop on a 2 kill pity. This means if you kill a boss and it doesn't drop an echo, the next boss you kill is guaranteed to drop an echo. The same applies to each of the different costs, with 3 cost echoes running on a 4 cost pity and 1 cost echoes on a 5 cost pity. The only exception to this is the 2 calamity bosses, who are in a separate pool from the other overworld bosses. It's still a 2 cost pity, it's just unaffected by the overworld bosses. This is huge because it means late game, when you're constantly rolling and recycling echoes to get perfect substats, you can guarantee the max amount of echoes for the tacit discords you need, as they only spawn once a day. It's even helpful early game because it means you can use echoes you have already caught to guarantee new ones for your databank rank. Leveling your databank is probably the most important thing you can do early game. It increases your stamina, unlocks the higher tier echoes, increases the amount of echoes you can have equipped, and it gives you astrate. I would prioritize databank level over your union level until you hit the point where you need to upgrade your soul level to claim the rewards from your databank. If you use the other tabs in your databank, you can see which echoes you still need to capture and track them from the map. This is one of the biggest factors to progression in the early game. I'd recommend as soon as you unlock the world bosses that you go around and fight each of them, as they have a guaranteed echo drop the first time you beat them, and this gives you an enormous amount of databank XP. As you level up your databank, you'll eventually unlock the 5-star echoes at level 15, but each time you unlock a new tier, you can go back and re-catch the echoes you already have, as the different rarities count as separate discoveries. One thing to note here is if you catch a purple echo without having previously gotten the 1 or 2-star varieties of that echo, it'll automatically fill in all 3 variations, so you don't have to go back and also catch a blue and a green version of that echo. Moving on, let's talk about each of the echo sets and which you should use on what characters. Early game, you'll probably want to run a 4-4-1-1-1 setup once you unlock databank level 12 and can have a total of 12 cost. This isn't the most optimal setup, however, it's much easier to get the correct main stat from boss echoes, as they respawn every 2 minutes and you can farm them perpetually, whereas everything else only spawns once a day and is scattered throughout the map. Once you have a bigger pool of echoes to pick from, the most optimal setup to run is a 4-3-3-1-1. This will take some time to build, however, and I wouldn't bother worrying about this until you have 5-star echoes unlocked. Generally, for your main DPS, you want to use the sets corresponding to the character's element. So if you're using Jian, you want to use the Sierra Gale set, and if you're using Jinyan, you want to use the Freezing Frost set. Set the boss echo as your active ability with either crit rate or crit damage depending on what your weapon is. So if you have a crit rate weapon, go for a crit damage main stat on your primary echo. For your 3 cost echoes, you typically want to go for the corresponding elemental damage boost, and for the 1 cost echoes, you want to use attack percent as the main stat. For sub DPS characters, you want to run the same main stats as your hyper carry, with the exception of maybe running energy recharge on 1 or both of your 3 stars. For healers or supports, I'd recommend running either Moonlit Clouds or Rejuvenating Glow. Optionally, you could use 2 of each set on your support and then use an active ability that has a good attack or swap tech. However, I think the full set bonus of either Rejuvenating Glow or Moonlit Clouds is more worth it than just having the healing bonus and energy recharge from the 2-piece sets. Here is a full breakdown of what main stats the different echoes can have. All echoes can have attack percent, defense percent, and HP percent. 3 cost echoes can additionally have elemental damage bonus and energy recharge. 4 cost echoes have the standard percents, as well as having crit rate, crit damage, and healing bonus. All of these echoes can roll the same substats regardless of their cost or rarity. For your DPS characters, this will usually be CV, possibly some ER if your character needs it, and then heavy attack, skill, and alt damage bonus, depending on what the main source of damage is for your character. So for a character like Jinyan, whose alt deals heavy attack damage, you would want a heavy attack damage bonus. And for someone like Calcaro, who does a huge amount of damage through his auto attack, you want basic attack damage bonus. And then for your last slot, having attack percent is always nice. For supports, you'll want to look for ER, HP percent, and defense percent, and possibly crit value if you need it. Finally, we're going to talk about the best investment strategy for collecting your echoes. First, I'd recommend getting to databank 15 and U30 before you bother to farm for a specific stat on 3-cost or 1-cost echoes, as it's basically pointless to do before you can regularly drop 5-star echoes. Technically, doing this at databank level 17 is the most optimal, but level 15 is good enough to start. You're just going to be farming for longer. Once you get around databank level 15, you can also start farming red mist elites. There are 15 of these red mist locations scattered around the map that contain elite boss versions of enemies. These echoes are guaranteed to drop 4 and 5-star echoes upon defeating them, and will net you a lot of databank XP with a guaranteed 5-star echo for elites that are over level 70. However, they are incredibly strong and they only spawn once a week, so just keep that in mind. Next, focus on getting your 4-cost echo on your hyper carry with good substats before worrying about your other echoes. The 3-cost echoes are especially difficult as you need the set element to line up with a main stat element, and then you need to get good substat rolls. So I'd highly recommend waiting until you're at the very end game before you start focus farming these. And I wanted to give a reminder again that as the 3-cost echoes are so hard to get perfect, it's much easier to form a perfect 4-4-1-1-1 set while you wait to get those perfect 3-cost 5-star echoes. Finally, I'd recommend not upgrading any echoes past level 20 until the very end game, as the XP required for 20 to 25 provides severely diminishing returns, and it's probably not worth the XP tubes until you have perfect echoes you can roll on. I would also not recommend upgrading any echoes to level 25 ever, unless the 4 substats you have on them are the 4 best substats you need, as the XP required is not worth the possibility of getting a bad roll. At least at the moment, unless if things change, XP tubes and tuners are both incredibly hard to get, so using these unnecessarily will ultimately hurt you in the long run, even if you're at the end game. You can also probably make it all the way to Union level 30 and Databank level 15 without upgrading any of your echoes besides your active 4 costs, and I'd highly recommend not upgrading echoes that aren't 5-star echoes unless you really need to. XP tubes are an incredibly scarce resource right now, and so using these, even with the 70% return, you will very quickly run out of XP to level up your echoes. A few last little notes about echo farming. Each week, you get 15 boss fights with an increased echo drop chance, with it practically being guaranteed at the higher databank levels. If you already have a good 4-cost 5-star echo for your characters and don't know what you're going to build next, then I'd probably recommend spending those first 15 boosted boss echo drops on either Impermanence Heron or Bellborn Geoshlone, as their respective sets probably have the most utility across multiple teams. Also, the last tab in your databank allows you to combine 5 echoes to get 1 or 2 new ones back. I'd highly recommend saving your echoes until at least databank 15, if not 17, so that way you have a good chance of getting 5-star echoes. Doing so beforehand is largely a waste. I waited all the way until databank 15. I didn't wait until I got all the way to 17, but even then, after recycling all of my old echoes that were below 4-star rarity, it got me an entire additional databank level. Finally, for the endgame content, you are able to share your weapons and echoes between your 3 teams. This means that instead of needing a full 5 echoes built for each of the 9 characters, you can build out 3 or 4 sets of echoes and use them between your different teams, which will save you a lot of farming time. This also means that if you have Kalkaro and Jian with Jian's signature weapon, that you can use the weapon on both of them as long as they are on 2 separate teams. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.